Lightning returns Final Fantasy XIII, the third in the Final Fantasy XIII series, and another return for, I think, easily the most popular character in Final Fantasy probably since Cloud. You think?
No.
No? You're not going to agree with me on that one?
I'm so happy that this franchise or this series is coming to an end. I'm sick of it. Personally, I thought the things that Square tried to do with 13 were really interesting. And the things they tried to do with 13.2 were also really interesting. 13 was so linear. And then 13.2 was very open, and they sort of were like, okay, well, here you go, have everything. And then it was too open, and now we're sort of stuck in this sort of rut where it's caught in between the two. They're using some really interesting sort of time mechanics, and I'm interested to see where it goes, if only so that I never, ever have to see Lightning ever again.
In terms of the combat, I think you just sort of touched on it there. You've got a little bit of the action time battle system, a little bit of the paradigm system, and a little bit of the dress vista system. So it's a real kind of amalgam of everything that Square Enix has been learning over the last few years, trying to bring it all together. But it's still fairly action orientated. You'll be running around as Lightning, leaping about, climbing ladders, investigating stuff. So it's sort of a mixture of that sort of traditional Final Fantasy gameplay with some more open action kind of type gameplay as well.
I think we've seen Square invest, sort of looking at ways they can make Final Fantasy more interesting to a broader fan base, because the RPG market is only getting smaller and smaller, and we're seeing everything from Final Fantasy to Tales to Dissidia. They're all getting smaller, and the fan base is getting sort of separated, I guess, and split up, and they need to do something to bring fans back in, and whether making it more action heavy is the answer, I don't know.
The other thing they're doing is they are making it much more focused on Lightning, as the title of the game would suggest. She's the only playable character. She's going to have multiple costumes, each of which enhance her abilities in different ways. The other key area is this time mechanic, 13 days to complete the mission, which will harken back to things like Majora's Mask on N64, those who can remember that game. But you'll be able to gain time and lose time during the course of the game. So that could be an interesting mechanic to sort of enhance the sense of danger and the sort of stress levels of the game. It give you something to work towards.
Something I find really interesting about that mechanic is you can actually miss events should you dilly-dally in one place for too long. So one example I was given was, you're doing missions in one particular town, there's an event happening in a separate town, but you miss the train to said town and you can't walk there because it takes like 6 hours of in-game time. You'll just miss it, and the game and the story will continue without you. So I love the fact that it's got this like organic breathing world that's and you've got 13 days. You have to do your sort of job of saving as many souls as you can. And if you don't save enough, you won't win, I guess. I love the idea that there might be a fail state in this entire story. That's really cool to me.
Yeah, I think the other thing that sort of comes out from this trailer is that the whole thing of saving souls, that Lightning's mission in this, maybe not everyone's entirely happy about that scenario. He meets up with another fan favourite from Final Fantasy XIII, Snow here.
Oh, Snow.
He's not particularly happy about the situation that he's been dealt with here, and he clearly isn't very keen on having his soul saved by Lightning. I'm sure there'll be more characters from the series that you'll know and love. I mean, sure. This trailer reveals another one in a second. But I think fan service with Final Fantasy is always a big deal.
Yeah.
This one's going to be ticking all those boxes. I think it's also doing some interesting things with the gameplay mechanics. So it'd be interesting to see how this might influence Final Fantasy games to come in the future. So we know we've got Final Fantasy 15 coming on Xbox One, so that's going to be really cool.
I think they're clearly taking a lot of the lessons they've learned from the last 3 games and putting it into 15. And 15 has almost a, the battle system is clearly sort of influenced from Lightning Returns. So it'd be really interesting to see how this is received, because if it's received badly, then how that will impact 15, who knows?
So fingers crossed it's received very positively.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, totally.
And we'll know that Final Fantasy 15 is in very, very good hands.
Yes.
But I think one thing you can definitely tell from this trailer is that Square Enix definitely hasn't lost its touch when it comes to FMV.
It looks so pretty.
It's such a good looking thing.
So good.
We keep our fingers crossed that perhaps the next gen can match this level of quality for in-game. Yeah. That would be, that's the dream for a few years' time. But in the meantime, we can enjoy this level of cutscene quality and some more incredible and crazy story from Final Fantasy in yet another installment.
No one is gonna stop me. You hear? Not you. Definitely not her. If I have to fight the savior, then I will.